Meet a top choice weapon. Half drone, half missile. Destroys tanks in seconds. Tanks are easily the single most dominant ground-based military equipment in the world. Russia has the most battle tanks of any country, with over 15,000 of them. That's at least 40% more than second position China, with about 9,100 tanks, and neither one of these two is a NATO country. The tank department is one department that NATO has had an impossible time dominating. But with such a wide gap from the top spot, they're not even trying to catch up. The focus, instead, has been on making tanks less invincible on the battlefield, and there's been a tremendous success in this. From vehicle-mounted guns that wield armor-piercing munition, to man-pads that give infantry the firepower of a fighter jet, tanks have been losing huge chunks of their armor, accompanied by their invincibility. And the battle against tanks rages on, with a new anti-tank weapon out of American borders that is based on a concept the world has never seen before. One that can destroy tanks in seconds, whether solo or in a team. One that attacks with the precision of a sniper to keep collateral damage at a minimum. One that is known as the kamikaze Switchblade, America's suicide drone whose destiny is to destroy Russian tanks. Which is why it is headed to Ukraine, having been included in the $800 million military aid package sent by the United States government to Ukraine to aid in the resistance of the Russian invasion. Switchblade, security assistance to Ukraine. On 16 March, the White House announced an $800 million package in security assistance to Ukraine. Included in this package are 100 tactical unmanned aerial systems, with each system having a capacity of 10 Switchblade drones, along with their ground launch and control systems, bringing the total count to 1,000 Switchblades. This new military package brings the total U.S. security assistance committed to Ukraine since the start of the Biden administration to $2 billion, and a record $1 billion within the week of its announcement alone. A record that could be broken soon, with the U.S. showing no signs of slowing down. Proof of this is in the launch of the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, a program that allows the U.S. to manufacture arms directly for Ukraine, rather than having to take them from its own stockpiles. The Defense Department is already negotiating with AeroVironment, the manufacturers of the Switchblade, to supply even more armor-piercing Switchblades, several of which will likely end up in Ukraine to represent the United States in fiery colors, which goes a long way to show just how high the Switchblade has risen through the ranks to become a top choice, go-to weapon. But how did it manage to do that? Switchblade, rising through the ranks. American troops were unstoppable during the battles, but not as much during ambushes, which the Taliban was notorious for. The American troops were desperate for a significantly more efficient way to counter these ambushes during patrols, as their options at the time were lacking in one way or another. Close air support, for one, was far too expensive to be a frequently used tactic, and when used, took too long to arrive, and even when it did arrive, posed collateral damage risks in certain cases. The other option, troop-carried guided missiles, such as the FGM-148 Javelin, although somewhat lightweight, was still a burden affecting troop mobility, and so was not often carried on typical random patrols. And it was on these typical random patrols that the Taliban would strike. These surprise attacks were proving quite successful for the Taliban, and American troops needed a response, one that could take to the skies on short notice, armed with munition, strike precisely, and do all that without hindering troop mobility. Their wishes would come true in the early 2010s when UAV manufacturing Virginia-based defense contractor AeroVironment introduced a half-drone, half-missile that fit the profile perfectly. Instantly, interests of the U.S. military were expressed and investments followed. On July 29, 2011, the U.S. Army awarded AeroVironment a $4 million contract for rapid fielding of an unspecified number of Switchblades to forces in Afghanistan. On 20 March 2012, the Army added $5.1 million to that, totaling $10 million for this weapon that was still quite new at the time. But the numbers would only keep going up. From its introduction to the end of Operation Enduring Freedom, over 4,000 Switchblades were deployed in Afghanistan alone. 2013 in particular would prove to be some year for the Switchblade, with a massive inflow of orders in the form of $51.4 million worth of contracts across only 9 days. From here on out, it was constant growth and upgrades for the Switchblade as the weapon had successfully proved its notoriety to virtually every department of the U.S. military and to targets in Afghanistan, with features and capabilities that could neither be found in a drone nor a missile, but only in a combination of both, which it so uniquely is. Switchblade, features and capabilities. The Switchblade is a new generation of extended-range, loitering munitions that can provide reconnaissance, surveillance, and target acquisition support to units on land, on the seas, and in the air, while also doubling as a missile, capable of taking out the widest array of targets, whether they're within or beyond direct line of sight. This "I'll get you wherever you are" nature of the Switchblade is thanks to its lock-on feature that enables it to keep track of both stationary and on-the-move targets. During attacks, the Switchblade releases no launch signature, giving the opposition no clue regarding where the attacks are coming from, which is helpful in stealth missions. There are 2 models of the Switchblade, the Switchblade 300 and the superior Switchblade 600, our focus in this video. The Switchblade 600 was designed with a 33-pound anti-armor warhead similar to the one on the Javelin missile, gifting this Switchblade the superpower of penetrating through armored, hardened targets from 25 miles away once it's launched in whatever terrain to operate in whatever weather, justifying the Switchblade as a truly global weapon worth integrating into every advanced military. And AeroVironment has put in the effort to make sure this integration goes as smoothly as possible through an intuitive touchscreen tablet that features advanced flight controls to make the most of the drone's modern antenna, GCS, and SAASM GPS. This intuitive touchscreen tablet is the Fire Control System, or FCS, via which users of the Switchblade can easily train, plan missions, and execute operations. The operations are centered around the Switchblade receiving commands on what to strike from its FCS or from some other friendly unit, such as a jet or a drone such as the Puma LE. In the case of the FCS command, the operator is fed data from the Switchblade's sensors and camera to spot targets. Once these targets are spotted, the operator simply commands the Switchblade to lock on to a target and kamikaze into it. There is one minor setback with this setup though, the lack of quality footage. And although this hasn't proven to be much of a problem, as the footage from the Switchblade isn't exactly of poor quality, there is a second setup that offers Ultra HD footage, which you would agree is awesome quality if you're a fan of Netflix. This second setup requires the Switchblade to team up with another friendly aircraft, possibly a jet, but most preferably a drone that serves as a keen eye in the sky, the Puma LE. The Puma LE, LE meaning long endurance, is an extended mission unmanned aircraft system that, like the Switchblade, was developed by AeroVironment. The Puma LE offers superior high-quality imagery required for advanced intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance during the day or at night, in whatever weather, on land, and in maritime environments. The Puma and the Switchblade can team up in highly effective hunter-killer teams, where the Puma identifies a target, locks on it, and commands a Switchblade to go introduce itself in the most explosive manner. For minimum collateral damage and high precision, The footage from the Puma is crossed with that of the Switchblade en route to the target to confirm that the Switchblade is heading for the right target. In the unlikely case that it's a wrong target, the operator can simply utilize the patented wave off and recommit capability of the Switchblade to cancel the lock on the target and recommit to another target, or simply loiter until a target is spotted. The Switchblade can loiter for over 40 minutes at a 70-mile-per-hour cruise speed. If no target is spotted within that period, that's one Switchblade wasted, as once launched from its tube, a Switchblade cannot be recalled into it. On the flip side, should a target be spotted, the Switchblade, given the go-ahead, dashes at a blurry 115 miles per hour to deal an unprecedented level of kinetic and explosive damage, with just enough of both to bring even a tank to its knees, as Russia might soon find out in Ukraine. And this would be the ultimate certification of the Switchblade for NATO countries. Proof that the once unstoppable Russian tanks can now be stopped by not only airstrikes that can take forever to arrive and cost a fortune to set up, or man pads that limit the mobility of troops, but the seemingly simple drone that becomes a missile at the push of a button. And another button that creates a missile is the red subscribe button below. Push it now and watch your device take off to the skies. Remember to give this video a thumbs up to activate the wave off ability. That would be all for now. Thanks for watching.